Hey everybody, how's it going? Sometimes it feels like the world is becoming more dystopian with each passing day, and I've often wondered what the purpose of this channel is. Is this channel bike ride videos? Is it component level logic board repair videos? Is it right to repair videos? Is it real estate videos? And at the end of the day, I think it's just one man documenting the world as it becomes a meme. This is something I never knew about. I knew that you had companies out there that would require that you use their ink. If you don't use their ink, maybe it would screw up the printer. And even though it's something that I firmly disagree with, you could make the argument in some way, shape, or form, even if there was ability to prove it wrong with a lot of analysis, that if you use the manufacturer's ink, it's 100% guaranteed to work, and if you use someone else's ink, maybe it won't work right and the printer won't work, so we're just going to disable that altogether. It's kind of a bullshit argument, but it's one that I think could at least be presented and be mildly laughed out of the room, other than just a GTFO out of the room. This is something that is insane. Canon has managed to one-up everyone, which is by having a printer-scanner combo where the scanner only works if you have ink in the printer. There is no argument in any way, shape, or form that could ever be proposed as to why this is the case. You can't use security. You can't say it's for quality control. You can't say it's because if you use somebody else's ink, it's going to fuck up this thing because no. Let's just go through this. Canon sued for disabling scanner when printers run out of ink, as they should be, and I hope they lose. Canon USA is being sued for not allowing owners of certain printers to use the scanner or faxing functions if they run out of ink. David Leacraft, a customer of Canon, filed a class action lawsuit on Tuesday alleging deceptive marketing and unjust enrichment by the printer manufacturer, refusing to scan when out of ink, while using his Pixma MG6320 printer from Canon. The plaintiff was surprised to discover that the all-in-one machine would refuse to scan or fax documents if the printer ran out of ink. As ink is not necessary to perform scans or faxes, the argument is that the printer feature should continue to work even if there is no ink in the device. I believe he means that the scanning feature should continue to work even if there's no ink in the device, so I'll just leave that up to a typo. Plaintiff Leacraft would not have purchased the device or would not have paid as much for it if he had known that he would have to maintain ink in the device in order to scan documents, reads the complaint from the class action lawsuit. Since at least 2016, other customers have contacted Canon about this exact problem and were told by support agents that the ink cartridges must be installed and contain ink to use the printer's features, as shown by the agent's response below. So here you have a, quote, product expert, and he says, "Hi, River Cook. The Pixma MG6320 must have all ink tanks installed in the printer, and they must all contain ink in order to use the functions of the printer. Replacing the empty ink tank with a new ink tank will resolve the issue. There is no workaround for this. Did this answer your question? Please click Accept a Solution button so that others may find the answer as well." No! It's a fucking scanner. It's a separate element. This is like saying if you run out of windshield washer fluid that the radio is not going to work in your car. There is no reason. And by the way, you can only get the windshield washer fluid from the manufacturer of your car. This is asinine, and this genuinely ties into everything we talk about on this channel about what companies are trying to do. It's no longer about not just allowing you to repair the device. It's by fundamentally sticking their flag into your product and saying, fuck you, we own this. You don't own this. You can't use it as you see fit. You can't fix it as you see fit. You can't. This is not yours. This belongs to us. I know you bought it, but it still really belongs to us. This all ties together across all industries, whether we're talking about consumer electronics, a laptop, a cell phone, medical equipment, your car, your printer, or your scanner. More and more, companies want to say, we own this, and by extension, we own you. And it's up to us to do this when companies say that they own us by owning our products. The complaint further illustrates with images of a Pixma MG2 522 box that Canon advertises its all-in-one printers as including 3 distinct features: print, copying, and scanning. However, there is no warning to show that ink is required for all of these features. Further posts found by Bleeping Computer also shows Canon telling customers that ink tanks must contain ink if they wish to print in grayscale, as it may damage the printer. So if you want to print black and white, but you're missing your color ink cartridge, well, you still got to buy a color ink cartridge. Maybe a technological argument could be made there. Or maybe you could even fool a legislator that's a bit more out of touch with technology with that argument. But the scanning thing, I think even somebody who is completely out of touch with technology who has been completely paid off by every manufacturer can look at something like this and go, bro, you're making this up. The Pixma MX710 must have all ink tanks installed, and they must all contain ink. If you attempted to print with no ink or an empty ink, you would risk damaging the printer. A support agent posted to Canon forums. And again, they got to get you to buy this shit. They got to get you to believe it. It's about security. You're going to get hacked. It's about your safety. It's going to blow up. It's going to hurt you. You're going to cut yourself on the screen. The battery's going to explode in your pocket. You're going to be unsafe. You will damage the product. Now they're trying to convince you. People that grew up with HP DeskJet 722Cs that could always print in black and white just fine, even if the color ink was completely empty, that you are going to damage the printer. You're going to damage it. You're going to break it by printing a black and white without a color ink cartridge in there. Who are you fooling? Forcing users to buy ink cartridges. As such, the class action lawsuit states that customers have been deceived into buying a product that was designed to artificially and unethically introduce functional bottlenecks by tying them to ink levels, even if there's no practical link between them. As opposed to the single-function printers it sells, Canon calls these multifunction devices a 3-in-1 or 4-in-1 for the fact that they purportedly provide 3 or 4 functions, reads the class action complaint against Canon USA. In truth, the all-in-one printers do not scan or fax documents when the devices have low or empty ink cartridges, the design issue, and Canon's advertising claims are false, misleading, and reasonably likely to deceive the public. According to the lawsuit, Canon is only doing this to increase its profits by selling replacement ink cartridges, hence the accusations for unjust enrichment. Considering that printer inks typically expire after 2 or 3 years, even if someone rarely or never prints out on one of these all-in-one machines, they would be practically forced to keep buying new ink just to use all the functions of the device. So even if you're not using the printer, you would have to continuously purchase ink cartridges to be able to use your scanner. That's insane. There is no reason or technical basis for manufacturing the all-in-one printers with an ink level detection function that causes the scanner to stop functioning when ink is low or empty. Canon designed the all-in-one printers in such a way to require consumers to maintain ink in their devices regardless of whether they intend to print, continues the complaint. The result is an increase in ink sales from which Canon obtained significant profits. The lawsuit was filed in the District Court for the Eastern District of New York and seeks at least $5 million in rewards, exclusive of interest, fees, and litigation costs. The alleged violations in the complaints are New York General Business Law 349, 350, breach of excess warranties, unjust enrichment, failure to disclose material information. If you bought an all-in-one printer from Canon and face similar problems, you could be eligible for receiving compensation in the future. However, it's important to note that the class action was filed this week and is not approved by the court yet, so it's too early in the process right now. Please, for the love of God, courts in New York, please take this case. And for the people handling it, you're not going to send a message if Canon is forced to send a $1.30 check to every single person who bought this printer. We have zero confidence in class action lawsuits in the United States. And the reason we have zero confidence in class action lawsuits in the United States is because this is what happens. I have a bunch of little checks that I have in my refrigerator attached to magnets. 54 cents for this, $3 for that, 80 cents for that. They're pointless. They don't teach the company anything, and they don't actually fix the problem, and they don't compensate us for our loss. You know what would work here? A class action lawsuit that gives the customer back the full dollar amount of their printer, the full dollar amount of the printer, ensuring that Canon is punished for what they did. You're not going to get them by a small class action that's the piddly percentage of their actual profits. Hit them where it hurts. Get every single person that ever purchased this printer a full refund on their ink, a full refund on the printer, the ability to keep the printer, and tell Canon that they have to change this firmware on the printer so that you can still print and scan even if you're out of color ink or if you can scan without having ink in the printer. That's the only thing that's going to teach a company like this anything. A slap on the wrist of 0.001% of the profit that they made from this activity is not going to do anything, and it will further degrade people's faith in our justice system entirely. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video.